So we recently bought a Ram 1500 EcoDiesel. I got to do something to it already. It's only got 50,000 miles on it. The Camaro has decided to have an electrical issue, so I disconnect the battery every time I shut it down, just to keep from starting a fire. So I have to pull the Camaro out and bring the Ram in, and we'll see what we're going to do with the Ram today. I don't know too much about diesels. This is an EcoDiesel, first diesel I've ever owned. I've heard good, I've heard bad, I've heard horrible, I've heard great. So far, been great for us. I know one thing about diesels is they don't like to be cold. So I went straight to Mopar and purchased this guy. This is a cover for the grill with vents that can be opened up and let some air in. We'll see. We'll see how it works. I'll let you know. But it's gotten pretty cold here, so I think it's about time. I actually haven't noticed this. We bought this thing locally from a dealer. It was traded in. Somebody owned it here locally, drove it around. They never had the plug. They say every diesel has a block heater, but this one does not have the whip cord on it. So we bought the cord, we bought the cover, because that didn't come with it either. And so I'm going to see what I can do. If I can get this thing installed so that I can plug it in when it gets even colder. Apparently it didn't need it. I mean, whoever drove this before us was around here, and I'm sure they got along just fine, or this stuff would have came with the truck. Because the only thing I'm doing to this thing is this and this. Anything else needs to happen to it, it's going back to the dealer to get done. It's kind of complex. There's one other thing that I'm going to do to it. When we bought it and we were waiting to take delivery, the dealer had it in getting detailed and cleaned up and whatnot, and we were ready to go. They made us stick around because the mechanics at the dealership were changing the squirters. You know, one of these guys, they were changing a washer fluid squirter thing. Well, they did, apparently. But this one squirts. This one, nothing. Air. So I got to get in here and see why. Obviously just a hose disconnected because the pump's working. If this one's squirting, but barely. It's really weak. So I'm saying it's leaking inside there. And we're going to find that out right now. I can't even really open the hood without hitting stuff in here. It's so tall. I can lower it. That's kind of cool. This is cool. It has this feature. So I don't see anything wet. And oh, I do. Yep, it does look wet up there. And I'm going to bet that that's because this thing's squirting fluid where it should not be. Here goes a hose. So that's one of the squirter hoses. Let's pull this up. I don't want to tear anything. I gotta get that out of there. That's dumb. Somewhere in there is a disconnected squirter, is my bet. So I've got you in a pretty weird position right now, but hopefully I'm going to scratch the paint. I'm not used to working on something that's actually nice. And see, this is wet. And this is what the dealer did. They had them out and didn't even put them back in all the way. It's wet inside there too, so we'll set that up there. Got a little clip right here that's holding this up. Little clip right here that's holding this up. Pull that down. And there it is. The squirter is not connected. Okay, so here's where we're at. This is on the hood. And it shoots out there. This is supposed to be in here. And it goes in, and it kind of clicks in, but it doesn't take much pressure to pull it out. When this is in here, this is supposed to go on there, and then on the existing line that feeds the fluid through it. And so it's pretty easy to get to, and it's pretty easy to fix if I have to buy a new one, but I don't really want to buy a new one because this one probably works just fine if I can get this to stay in here. So I think that's what I'm going to work on. I think I'm going to fix this. So this is kind of what I came up with the objects, the items, the tools, the equipment, the stuff that I have on hand. A little rubbing alcohol. Little black silicone, some Q-tips, and the broken piece, and of course electrical tape. So let's see what happens. Like I said, it's probably a relatively cheap part. Alcohol the inside and out of this thing. Clean this guy up where I'm going to put the sealant. Just make sure everything's clean and dry. But here we go. See if I can get a real small bead of this stuff on here. I bet I can't. I bet I'll end up clogging up that hole and everything else. That's probably enough. I'll use another Q-tip instead of my finger this time. Maybe I can keep from going in the house with sticky stuff all over me. That part done. Let's see. Squeeze her together. I like it. I like it. Wipe off the excess. And we're going to let that dry. We'll come back to you. In the meantime, I've got this cover to put on, and then I've got this cord to install. So, according to the constructions from Mopar, winter front cover. That's it. That's what I got. It's supposed to fit this. We'll find out. I don't know. Like hook some stuff in there, and I'm not doing that. So these slots go in there. Looks like they hook around. I don't know. We're going to find out how it fits. And then something like that, one of those. What is that? That shows that going there. That we're going to do it. Then we're going to hook some things to other parts. Let's just see how it goes. I'll look at that when I get confused. Uh-oh. I'm already confused. Like this. It just doesn't seem like that's all that it's going to do. Alright, so we're done. We're going to have to find some nylon pry tool. I don't have a nylon pry tool. I got a wooden stick. So this has to get folded so it goes behind here. So it's going to get not just sitting like that, but it's got to go like that. And this has to go in there. Okay, now see, now we're getting into the meat of it now. That sure looks like that's going to stay. Nylon pry tool for this to push in there or something. This one's already been done. These hooks hook here. So I just wasted a bunch of my time, but that's okay. I don't care. I took out the, I tried to get the truck jacked up, but we just came back from vacation and somewhere along the lines we lost the key to take the tire off. So luckily we haven't had a flat or anything. Doesn't matter. I don't have a jack in the truck. But if you go through here, there's a block heater. I couldn't get through there, so I decided to go over to the top and I took the air box out. Pretty easy, it just pulls out. Unplug this, unscrew this, take that loose. Something else down here to take loose. And when we first got the truck, I started looking for the block heater cord. And they say if it came from Canada, the truck automatically had a block heater and the cord attached to it, ready to go. If it was an American-made truck, which this one was, chances are you didn't have the cord. You just had the block heater. And it's on the side down there. You see that little orange thing? Right there. Underneath that hole. That's where the block heater goes. So I finally got to it and started looking. And it's already got a cord attached. It was buried so far down in here. When I first originally started looking, I couldn't find it. So I started looking to plug this new one in. And then I found a cord hooked to it. So that one's going back. This one's here. The cover's on. We're ready for winter. Oh well, at least I get to dump out the box because it's a good idea to get all that garbage out of there anyhow. So I'm going to dump that out, put it back together, and we're done. So here's the end of this saga. I glued it and let it dry, and I touched it and it fell apart. Well, the Zone has these just down the street from me for 30 bucks. Nope, not going to spend 30 bucks on this. So I re-glued it, and then you can see what I did with the wire, and tied it just to give it a little extra hold on to itness. Hopefully that works. We'll see. If it doesn't, it's easy enough to get to, and then I can just buy the $30 plastic piece that's going to break. This is pretty new, and it broke, so why would I think the other new ones aren't going to break? So there it is. Pretty easy install. It's got 12 points of contact. Nylon or a bungee kind of hook. Little clip that goes around here. It's like a C clip. You can see it there. One on each side. Little hook with the bungee. Hard plastic that slides down in the sides. Anybody could do this. Little sandbag looking things on the bottom that poke in there. It says to use a nylon pry tool to force those in, otherwise known as a wooden shim. You just kind of get it in there and push those sandbag things back. There's one over on this side, and then there's one in this corner, and there's one down here. Pretty easy. I imagine it's going to be worth it. You keep all four flaps closed if it's snowing or if it's brutally cold, and you open them up. I'm just going to keep an eye on the temperature gauge and make sure she's not overheating. I don't think it will. They say diesels really don't like the cold, so we'll see what happens. So it's 9 degrees. Temperature's perfect and holding. So I guess that cover's working. Wind chills are about 15 below zero right now. Problem is I don't know what temperature it runs at without the cover on it because I haven't owned the vehicle long enough to say. So anyhow, cover seems to be working in my opinion. 9 degrees. 3.0 EcoDiesel, 3.0 EcoDiesel, 9 degrees, running at perfect temperature. On the busted knuckle tool tossing scale of difficulty, this cover install comes in at a 1.01. It's really simple, just follow the constructions. Anyone can do it, unless you have to use Velcro shoes and have someone cut your oatmeal.